Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottenden from the Flourish.Academy. This is episode 238, and today we're talking about photographing in the snow. It's about 26 degrees where I live today, and obviously we have several inches of snow on the trees and on the ground, and it is beautiful, but I wanted to talk to you about two things that can happen when you're photographing snow. One is it can appear blue, and that's because of daylight. So what you can do is change your white balance from auto to maybe cloudy. It's the little cloud in the white balance setting, or the house with shade, which will add some warmth to your image to balance that blue. Or you can use Kelvin and you can mess around with the numbers in order to get a perfect white balance. I tend to shoot it in auto, not because I'm lazy, but I like to correct it in Lightroom. That's okay. Either way is fine. But the other thing I want to talk about is what happens to your camera meter when you're photographing in snow. So I have my camera with me, and when you take a picture in program mode, shutter priority, or aperture priority. Hello, Holly. I see you. Thank you. The camera will tend to underexpose the snow. So I want you to start thinking like your camera meter. When the camera sees all of this bright white, it says to itself via an internal dialogue that I'm pretty sure goes something like this. It says, wow, it's really bright out here. I am going to pull that image down in order to expose it properly. But of course the camera does not have a brain, and it doesn't know that you want the snow to be white. So most cameras will meter to about 18% gray. Now you can do research on this. Some people say it's not 18%, it's actually 12%. I don't know. All I know is it's somewhere between 12 and 18% gray is your perceptual midpoint between white and black, meaning a good exposure according to the camera. But the camera is not going to get it right when it sees all of this bright. So what can you do? In program mode, aperture priority, or shutter priority, you could press the plus minus button on your camera in order to get to exposure compensation and increase the exposure compensation. I don't know how much, maybe by, I don't know, I have mine at 0.7 plus 0.7, probably even one full stop. You could overexpose the image according to the camera's meter, which would actually result in a well-exposed photo. And that's again because the camera meter sees it differently than your eyes do. The camera sees a lot of white, it's going to bring it down, and you have to tell the camera, nope, I want it brighter than that. Now, if you're shooting in manual mode, what you want to do is, instead of having your meter directly in the center in order to take a photo, you want to place that up on the positive. Again, how much really depends on how you like the image to look and what the camera's doing in terms of the exposure, how much white's in the frame, etc. But you can experiment with that, and you want to essentially tell the camera that you want to make it brighter, when in actuality that's a good exposure. So to recap, the two things we're talking about today is when you shoot in the snow. Okay, three things. It's cold. And then you want to make sure that your white balance is set properly, because the snow will appear blue. You can balance that with white balance in your camera or during the post-processing. And then the second is understanding that the camera meter is not going to see it the way that your eyes do. So you're going to want to overexpose the photo according to the camera, not according to your eyes. According to your eyes, it would be a good exposure. But if you let the camera meter the snow, it will always underexpose the image. Another thing is you want to make sure that you protect your gear. So it's actually snowing right now. I'm not sure if you can see that. And snow is precipitation, which means my camera is getting wet. So you'll definitely want to do some research and see, number one, is your camera weather sealed? And there's a difference between weather sealed and weather, what's the other word? Resistant? Weather resistant versus weather sealed. Okay, I would stay out here with this light snow and this camera for a while. Maybe when I'm not shooting, I might put it in my coat or something just to protect it, but I wouldn't let it get, really soaked with snow. But some of your cameras are not weather sealed, weather protected, and you need to know that, because if it gets wet, then it could damage the camera. So hopefully you found this useful. It's a little bit cold, so I'm going to go ahead and go inside, and I'll see you in the next video.